we're the house that had the explosion. And I did want to thank the council, the mayor, for taking action, assisting us, because it was a very scary event. We don't have kids in the house anymore, but all our neighbors have very little kids, and it was the explosions and the fireworks. We've been complaining about it for a couple of years, but I think the photos my wife took, brought it to a head. And I appreciate your coming here today, explaining what you're doing. And I may have heard you incorrectly, but did you think you could finish by the end of this year?
Yes, so the section of forest between, was it Osborne right at the station, so Osborne to Bay will be completed by the end of this year.
By the end of
This year, 2022. Right, so there's a really important circuit.
no, just so
He's like shell shocked.
But I do appreciate you coming, and I do appreciate that that we moved up on the priority list, maybe due to the photographs, because it has been a bad situation for a couple of years. But we do understand that we're not the only ones with the problem. But anyway, thank you on our behalf. We're communicating with the neighbors on Clinton and our neighborhood, and we'll inform them of what we heard tonight.
Good.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
At this time, we will suspend the regular order of business for the CDBG hearing.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks.
This is our second of two hearings for the Community Development Block Grant Program grant application. In accordance with the process set by HUD, we have to have two public hearings. CDBG funds are used to help low, moderate income neighborhoods. Our census tract, Glen Ridge, has only one census tract, and we do not qualify for low, moderate income. However, this program can be used for ADA, people with disabilities projects, such as elevators, and what we use them for is ADA ramps throughout the community. So when we pave, we have to bring up those ramps at the corner up to the current code. These funds, we utilize those funds and we package them with our DOT funds. And so when we go out to bid, we use the DOT funds and the CDBG funds. We use the CDBG money to do those concrete ramps with the red pad with the dimples on it. That's funded through this program. This year, we are requesting from Essex County, we're requesting $50,000. We usually get about 40. However, we're hopeful that with our performance in the grant program, there might be a little extra funds coming our way. So we just asked for a little bit more. We have the stage set. What happens sometimes if other grant participants cannot deliver their project in a timely fashion, that money becomes available. So we're ready to jump on and get some more money and throw those toward the road jobs as well. We have a very good track record of Eric bringing these jobs in on time and our paperwork on time, as much as our contractors try to make it a contest for them. We're able to get there, so they're always happy to work with us and give us funding. So again, we're looking for $50,000. Later on in the meeting, we'd be adopting a resolution which submits our proposal and ranks that as our number one priority. So again, $50,000 for the Community Development Block Grant. That's from the borough side, and we post this online and as well in public newspapers announcing this hearing in accordance with what HUD and Essex County Housing and Community Development is looking for. And that concludes my portion of the hearing.
Great.
Are there any questions? Okay, great. So we could just move forward with the resolution. I believe
Who's got that?
Councilor Meyer has that.
I do. Oh, so we're gonna.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
jump
we
jump
can,
over?
no, we don't jump. We can just go right in the line.
Okay.
All right, so we'll go back under the regular order of business. So Councilor Morrow, I guess I'm first.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Before I turn to the Finance Committee report, I just wanted to acknowledge on behalf of the council the recent passing of a long-standing
Sure.
resident in town, Bob Hayes. Bob and his wife Joan live on Forest Avenue. They've raised their family here. They've been active supporters of so many efforts in our town. They've served on many boards of just about any organization, but I think for most of us, Bob's true royalty was his association with the Glen Ridge Volunteer Ambulance Squad. to me at any rate, he was really the face of that organization. I'd like to just read a portion of the statement that the ambulance squad has put out acknowledging his passing. Bob joined the fire division of the Glen Ridge Volunteer Ambulance Squad on April 11th, 1988, and served his community with pride and commitment. Everyone in town was touched by Bob. His kindness, compassion, and generosity were shared with so many of us. And I think for any of us who ever had to call the ambulance, there was just something reassuring when the squad car, when the rig pulls up and, you know, Bob jumped out. Until a few years ago, Bob was still training our new drivers. Once he decided to leave the 911 calls for the young folks, he became a transport driver, taking senior citizens in town to various doctor appointments. Bob was always there to lend a hand, to give advice, and to simply be a friend. Again, I guess just like to express sentiments on behalf of the council, just acknowledging his passing and his dedication to the town. He truly was one of those individuals that I think forever will be associated with the good volunteer work of this town.
Yeah, I think that he really epitomized the face of volunteerism. He and Joan both. They were just hand in glove, working all the time on some project or another. And they were very, very welcoming when I came to town. So I think we'll miss him. He was always a great talker and a great time to have.
Oh, yeah, and I think he really, at a point at which some of our surrounding towns were no longer able to support the volunteer ambulance squad efforts, Bob was there with efforts to fundraise, to get that new rig. You know, he really, I also think, was instrumental in recruiting high school students to be involved with the volunteer ambulance squad, which, I mean, for many of us, we did have kids who did ride, and it really was a remarkable service on behalf of the squad, but also on behalf of those individuals that were able to volunteer. And I don't know, I associate Bob with all of those efforts.
Just anything, you know, just to echo, in the library, don't forget the library.
Yes,
The
right.
expansion of the library,
Right,
they were a
right.
huge force behind that.
He and Joan were a huge force in fundraising and getting that effort underway.
And I think the auditorium too, when the auditorium was done years ago. I think they helped
I'm
raise
sure
money for
if
that.
someone
and
traces
everything.
an organization,
I wouldn't be surprised.
you're gonna see the, one or both of their names, because they were also, I don't know, a dynamic duo, right?
Yeah.
Wherever there was one, there was the other.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, I just have one item, it's resolution 151-22, and it is our resolution authorizing the payment of bills and payroll for the pay period beginning December 1, 2022. Mayor, I offer resolution 151-22.
You have heard the resolution. May I hear a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, David. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call roll?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilors Morrow,
Aye.
Hughes,
Aye.
Lefkowitz,
Aye.
Mans,
Aye.
Law,
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, the motion carries.
Thank you. Councilor Hughes?
Mayor, I have no report, but is anyone going to mention or report out on the Ashton Filter 8K? No. So just a beautiful day, great turnout, uneventful, Chief, I think, from a public safety point of view, and just a wonderful event for Glen Ridge.
Is that lightly attended? I looked out maybe at 10:15 or 10:20, and it seemed like the crowd had already gone by.
Fast runners.
It was actually record numbers.
Really?
Yeah, it was,
I think the weather helped because I think people were running faster.
Yeah.
We were actually out of
I've
there
never seen
a
people
little bit
quite
earlier.
that fast, but that's
Yeah.
great.
So
Yeah, they were
I was running the water station opposite Forest Avenue School, and I would say the last of the walkers went by at about 9:45.
which we appreciate. Yeah.
No, it is a remarkable effort again for Public Works, for your police department. There is a lot involved
Oh, there
in
is.
setting that event up. And I think people sometimes like, oh, just show up and run, but there is so much planning and preparation. And I think your departments do an excellent job, and that's why it runs so efficiently. But it's a lot of work. I mean, I saw them out at, I think, 10 o'clock the night before in that little golf cart, posting signs and.
Yeah, like 20 porta-johns magically appear.
Yeah.
You're like,
It's-
who's doing all this?
it's-
Yeah.
It's a lot of coordination.
Yeah.
To see the reports that were done, it's really a lot, so I thank you.
And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Lefkowitz.
Mr. Mayor, I have no report this evening.
Councilor Mans.
I have a small report and one resolution for Public Works. So we do have an outside vendor exercising gate valves in the water distribution system. That's just the valves that move between in the pipes that allow it to go off and on. I had to ask myself. So that's good to continue to do the maintenance on that. And then we used our new hot box to fill potholes in town. So that's always exciting, I know, for DPW. The resolution I have seems to be a bit of a holiday miracle, but there's a window that's open to buy some vehicles for our much overworked and old DPW vehicles. So I have resolution 152-22 to allow the Glen Ridge Department of Public Works determine that there's a need to purchase a new 2023 Ford 250 XL truck and a 2023 Ford Transit Connect van. And these will be purchased from a dealer in Morristown. And we will be purchasing the truck for $63,370 and the transit van for $38,040. I move the resolution.
You've heard the resolution. May I hear a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Rich. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilors Morrow,
Aye.
Hughes,
Aye.
Lefkowitz,
Aye.
Mans,
Aye.
Law,
Aye.
Meyer. Aye. 6 ayes, no nays, the motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Law.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just one comment on the Ashenfelter. I saw Councilor Hughes running past my house for the race, and he was going so fast that I couldn't get his attention.
Was he looking at gas lamps?
I don't know what he was doing, but he was going fast. But that's all I have to report.
Did
I
you
think
read my
it's about
daughter?
a half dozen comments, but I'm not gonna make it.
Counselor Hughes, what was your time,
Yeah,
Counselor
what was
Hughes?
your time?
What was I, 39?
Not by much anymore, she was 46 this year. Catching up.
Catching it? Or-
Councilor Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I have one resolution to offer this evening, resolution number 153-22. Mike spoke earlier about this resolution for the Essex County Community Development Block Grant Program, and this is for $50,000 for installation of ADA ramps, as Mike had previously spoken about. So, Mayor, I move the resolution.
You've heard the resolution. May I hear a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dave. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilors Morrow,
Aye.
Hughes,
Aye.
Lefkowitz,
Aye.
Mans,
Aye.
Law,
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays, the motion carries.
Thank you. This time we'll take comments from the administrator and department heads.
Mayor, again, I just want to echo the sentiment regarding the 8K. It was a great event. Public Works and PD, just a great job, and we've been doing it for so long that everybody was just hitting their stride. It was a nice day, which made it easier. We seem to be quicker pace for some reason, even with the walkers. The turnout had to be one of the largest. The fun run, the lead runner was bumping into people still trying to clear the start line. So as I was, I drive the first vehicle around, as I was coming back across the finish with the lead runner, people were still crossing the start line
Wow.
to enter the course.
Wow.
So that was the fun run. So just to give you an idea of the scale of how many people were there, that was,
And that's a mile, right?
that's a mile. Yeah, it didn't seem very fun. The pace that the first person was running was, it was like a sprint.
I think there should be an age limit on that.
Yeah, he kind of took the fun out of fun run.
Exactly, that's not very
But everything ran great. There's a huge ramp up of resources and making things run smoothly, and we were just firing on all cylinders. And just thank you to everybody involved, the race coordinator, the staff. Everything just was really, really wonderful.
Yeah, I heard the Montclair Fire Department was even pitching in to help.
Yeah, they do every year.
They do every
They
year.
do, yeah, I don't think people realize that, yeah.
They come and help us out at the water station.
At Forest, on the one on Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just to go back to the truck process for any of the public information, just so people know where, acquiring things right now, as most people are aware, we've had a truck on order for about a year and a half now, and I don't even think it's on the assembly line. These two new trucks, the purchasing window just opened up, and the vehicles we're replacing a 2006 with 95,000 miles, and then the van we're replacing a 2007 with 142,000 miles on it. So, our mechanics are very proactive, but these are when these things hit their age, especially our plow vehicles, these 4x4s. Plowing is very hard work, and every vehicle we purchase, we try to look at a multi-purpose value to it. So these vehicles they're not just dedicated plows. We don't have that ability to that. These are just day-to-day workhorses that then go out and plow at the same time. So we get the most out of them that we can. And lastly, a hot box, just if you're wondering what in the world a hot box is, that is a mobile device that actually warms asphalt and keeps it hot through the course of the day. So when it's used to patch a hole, it's still at that viscous temperature, so you get a good, clean, sticky patch that binds well to the road surface. Typically this time of year we throw in what's called cold patch, which doesn't bind, it's just a temporary material. This hot box allows us to do a proper pothole repair almost year round. And that, I've bored you all to tears with my report, and I will wrap it up there. Thank you.
Mayor, I have no report, but I would like to echo what Henry Morrow said about Bob Hayes. I know my middle daughter, who's in her 40s now, when she was at Glenridge High School, she rode with the volunteer ambulance squad, and Bob Hayes, of course, was the leader of the pack, so to speak. And, his energy was boundless, his dedication was limitless, very positive. He was a wonderful, wonderful role model for my children. He was just really terrific, and Joan as well.
Mhm.
And the only comment I'll make on the Ashenfelter race is, there were two things. One, the fun run. I think the greatest thing was seeing these very, very small children completing it. And, they have limitless energy. And some of them were coming by my house running backwards and turning and twirling. And it was just really great to see that. And then the other thing I'll add is that I was out there watching the runners go by, and there was a fellow who came by who was 93. And I heard him coming from about a block away. I heard his voice. I said, "Oh, I hope someone's not having a problem or an episode." And he came by and he was huffing and puffing, and I waved him. He says, "I'm 93," and I said, "Wow." I said, "God bless you." Just amazing. But that's all I have there. Thank you.
I think he missed the best use date or something.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, yeah, I just want to reiterate what everyone else said about the race. It was run flawlessly, obviously with the teamwork with Mike, DPW, Bill Bartlett. I mean, it's gotten so, it's a well-oiled machine that we can just almost look at each other. We know what we're thinking, and we'll go fix that barricade or what have you. I also want to thank the Assistant County Sheriff's Office, New Jersey Transit PD, Montclair State PD, for assisting us in all of our events. They usually help us out in any way we need it. And I run a carry in the Glenridge Volunteer Ambulance Squad. She's in the command post with us. It makes everything, we communicate face to face, and she sends her people. It's a very well run event. On a second note, Bob Hayes, when I was on the ambulance squad, he actually trained me. He was the captain, just a great guy. So sad to hear passing. That's all I have.
Is there any new and unfinished business?
No, Mr. Mayor?
And at this time, we'll take comments from the public.
Hi, Phil Johnson, 55 Chestnut Place. Fully agree, Councilor Hughes, on your note on the gas lamps in town. You can just drive down Ridgewood Avenue and see how many are completely out, and so fully agree that there's a lack of maintenance being performed by PSEG, and so hopefully the audit will confirm that and get it back in working order. I guess on the community development block grant funding, I know last year a citizen reached out to Essex County and had crosswalks painted across Ridgewood Avenue, 3 locations where there were handicap ramps already installed. And I raised some concern at that point about new crosswalks without crosswalk signs. Can any of the community development block grant money be used for crosswalk signs at those new locations? You also, I know, recently approved funding for flashing crosswalk signs on Forest Bay and High Street at Belleville, I believe, and can the old signs be reappropriated for Ridgewood Avenue to ensure we have proper signage for those newly painted crosswalks?
We put in a request for them to put them there, we'll give it a try. On a county road, we can't just pop signs in, we need them to say it's okay, but we can certainly ask them again, and if they can't, just see if we can deploy them ourselves.
Right, but I think it's a great suggestion maybe to,
Yeah.
is that a permitted use of CDBG funding
It would
for
just be
traffic?
simpler for us to go through the procurement process, they're not that much money.
Yeah.
Just the sign, it's more of the permitting process, so it's much easier if the county just does it. It's more of a process than anything.
Yeah.
You're only talking maybe $200 a setup.
Right.
So it's just, if we put something in the right of way, they go crazy, so it's just easier if they either do it or otherwise then we have to do the engineering design and request and install. So we'll give it another try.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Councilor Minns.
Oh, a motion to adjourn.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I've never, well, I can't remember. I move a motion to adjourn.
May I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.
I never get those.